Right, this is a podcast, and in the back of shot is a Vauxhall Expert who doesn't want to be on camera. But he's a Vauxhall Expert. And he's going to basically argue against what I say, which is basically talking about bad automotive opinions, because there are many, and I have many, but I want to start with one of yours because it's funny.
Mm-hmm. I think the BMW iX is one of the greatest cars BMW make, and it's very good looking.
See, that's a bad automotive opinion, and that the BMW iX looks good, but it doesn't. It just doesn't.
It does look good though.
No, it doesn't.
It does. The thin streaks, the big grille. It's a good looking car.
Why has it got grills?
Design?
It's electric.
It looks
doesn't
nice.
Need big, massive grills.
Yeah, but it does.
But it doesn't.
It does, so they can put that stupid gimmick feature on where, you know, like if you scratch it and then you apply heat, it goes back to normal. It's a good looking car. There's nothing you can say about it. Nothing you can say to change my mind.
The iX is horrendous.
Okay, how about the XM? That thing
Possibly
looks good as well.
slide slightly on the XM because it's not as bad as it was when it first came out. It's like the M3. Everybody thought that was hideous when it came out, and it's actually not.
I never thought the M3 was a bad looking car, and here's one for you. I think the grille the BMW M3 and M4 have is better than the original kidney grille.
Or the old one from like the E30.
Any of them. I think it's better than all of the kidney grills. I think the kidney grill was an ugly
It's not a fish.
was an ugly design, and it was outdated.
I mean, it looks good, but
It doesn't.
the M3 does. The new one with the big grills. I like it, but the iX is hideous.
It isn't.
It just is.
No. Do you know
Just
what else I like about the iX? The fact it's electric, because electric cars are very good.
Apart from they're not.
But they are.
But they're not.
They are. Cheaper.
Not
quieter.
are they
9
cheaper?
times out of 10
They're
more
not
comfortable.
cheaper. The iX
In the
is
long run, they're
120
cheaper.
grand. No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
It costs as much to fast charge an electric car as it just to fill a car with
What if
fuel.
you just fill it at home? I mean,
It
charge
takes-
it at home?
It takes 100 years.
No, it takes 7 hours, and you can do that while you sleep. So
And then
when,
your house burns.
when you wake up for work,
Burns to the
and
ground.
then you can go out to your fully charged car when
And
you wake
do
up in the
900
morning.
yards and then have to stop for another 7 hours.
That's not true, though, is it?
But it is true.
Most electric cars do 400 to 500 miles.
No,
That's
they
more than most
don't.
petrol cars.
There's-
Yes, they do.
2 on sale at the minute that
That's-
do more than 400 miles from a range.
Name both.
Fisker Ocean Extreme all-wheel drive at 440 miles of range, and the Mercedes-Benz EQS 450 Plus with 453 miles of range.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, it is.
Is that so? You don't need 400 miles of range. Now I'm gonna
Yes,
backtrack. You don't need
yes, you
400
do.
miles of range.
Yes, you
No, you
do.
don't. When are you gonna drive 400 miles at a time?
To the Nürburgring.
Yeah, but you're not going to drive 400 miles at a time. You're going to need a break, which then your car can take 15
Yeah, but-
minutes to charge.
15 minutes isn't going to
Not
get you another
fully.
400 miles.
It'll get you another 100 or so.
On a fast
Depending on-
charger, yeah.
Yeah.
That costs a bomb.
So then you can go into McDonald's, you can have your food while your car's charging. But when you fill your car up with petrol, you're out in seconds.
Yeah, that's the point. And then you can race along the Autobahn. And if you do go on the Autobahn and you do max your electric car, you'll have no battery left, so you'll have to stop again.
Well, I think that's a very smart feature. It counteracts bad driving. You shouldn't be driving like that.
But it's the Autobahn, you should be.
Just because you're allowed doesn't mean you should.
Right, anyway, moving on from your terrible opinion. Mine, I'm going to do this one first before we get on to the controversial ones. This is actually quite controversial. The Range Rover Evoque Convertible is a good car.
No, it isn't. It's horrendous.
Why isn't it a good car?
I just don't think you can explain it, but it's ugly. It just...
Apart from it's actually not that ugly with the
It
roof
is
up.
really ugly. What do
It's
you
not with the roof up.
No, it's even worse with the roof
No,
on.
but actually it's one of the very few convertibles that looks alright with the roof on.
How? It has a weird hunchback design. The back seats are really, really
So it just looks like an old person with a slip disc.
It's
Are you
just...
criticising old people now?
Yes. It's a bad car. There's nothing to it. It's really bad. Why would you buy a 2-door Evoque and then take the roof off of it?
The thing is, there's 3 convertible SUVs. proper ones. The Nissan Murano Cross Cabriolet
The Tiguan.
and the
T-Roc.
T-Roc Cabriolet, both of which are woeful cars. The T-Roc is by far the worst, right? The Evoque convertible is based on the Evoque, which is actually a good car.
Is it though?
What's wrong with an Evoque? It's good off-road, it looks alright, drives fine, and it can actually go anywhere because it's a proper off-road. It's not just a stupid crossover like the Murano and the...
Have you ever seen an Evoque off-road?
That's not the point.
Have you ever seen one off-road?
Have you ever seen a full-sized Range Rover off-road?
No.
Well, there you go. That's the point.
But the point of a Range Rover is not to go off-road anymore. It's to sit nicely outside of Waitrose. That's the point of a Range Rover.
Range Rover Evoque convertibles don't sit outside of Waitrose.
Yeah, they sit outside of Aldi because they're cheaper than the normal Evoque because no one buys them.
No, exactly, because they're depreciated like a rock falling off the White Cliffs of Dover.
That's because it looks like a rock falling off the White Cliffs of Dover.
Because why would you buy a convertible SUV? But what I'm saying is, it's actually a decent car.
Well, there you go. You've just said it. Why would you buy
But
one?
you wouldn't,
There isn't
but
any reason.
It's actually
pointless.
a good car. People hate it.
Because it's pointless.
Yeah,
it's
because
ugly.
it's pointless. Yeah, but it's the only car in the one of very few cars in the world where you can actually go off-roading with the roof off.
But
in
why
the
would you
sun.
want to do that?
Because that's cool.
But no Evoque owner has ever
A
went
Range Rover
off-road.
Evoque convertible makes sense if you go off-road only in it.
But why would you want to go off-road with a convertible?
Because it's cool.
But why? Mud will fly up and
They do
ruin your
conversions for
upholstery.
the original 1970s Range Rover that you can have them as a soft top.
Yeah, but no one takes them off-road. No one takes any old Range Rover off-road
It's
anymore.
the only place that it works.
It doesn't really work anywhere.
Well, they don't work, yeah. But they work off-road, just about. Unless some bamboo gets stuck in the radiator.
But the bad thing about that is when they then go off-road and then they break down. The
They
AA
won't break
can't
down.
get to you.
They won't break down.
They will break
They won't
down.
break down off-road. They only break down on the road.
The second they touch tarmac, they're like, no.
But anyway, it's actually... The Range Rover convertible is actually a good car.
No, terrible.
It is.
No.
It's a stupid car, but...
Moving
it
on,
looks
it's terrible.
good. It's not.
It's terrible. Move
It's
on.
not. It's your go now.
I go.
Again.
I think that. Ooh, let's think. I think the Pontiac Aztek isn't that bad. I think it isn't that bad. I liked the features it
Looking
had.
wise, or as a car.
As everything. I don't think it looks too bad. It's a bit ugly. It's a bit ugly.
Yeah.
But it has really cool features like the cooler. It could be a tent. And it actually was a capable off-road car, even though it was front-wheel drive.
The weird thing with the Pontiac Aztek is it's very much like the Range Rover Evoque convertible in that it is actually an alright car. It's just completely pointless and a bit weird.
I liked the cooler. I'm just sad we didn't get one of them in the UK.
You got a tent as well.
Yeah, you got a tent that you
A
could
big
just
tent
put on the back
rear
of us.
boot. No, it's weird because everybody hates the Pontiac Aztek. We're going to make one called Cars That Get Unnecessary Hate for No Reason. And I think the Fiat Multipla does as well because that's actually a very good car.
It's very cool, isn't it? Isn't that?
It looks hideous. But what's annoying is all of these innovative cars, like the Range Rover convertible for being the first proper off-roader with no roof, and the Pontiac Aztek for having a tent, and the Fiat Multipla for having 6 seats and dead roomy and better than an SUV.
How does the 6 seats work? I know there's three
Three in
and
the
then
front and
three,
three in the
but
back.
imagine you're trying to change gear and you
The
have to
gear
reach
lever's
between.
on the dashboard.
So you don't have to reach between your passenger's legs.
No, you don't. Well, that's the wrong gear knob.
Yes, that is the wrong one to go for.
I know.
But imagine.
I don't think you'll be changing into third with that one.
The Honda CR-V still has that.
HRV.
HRV.
Was it not HRV? No, FRV.
Oh, the names of Hondas are horrendous.
We've now got the ZRV, which is slotted between the HRV and the CRV.
How have they figured that one out? Z is at the end of
Exactly.
the alphabet.
So why didn't they choose something between H and C?
They're not a very smart company, are they?
Not really. But yes, the Pontiac Aztek. No, actually, it's a good bad automotive opinion in the fact that it's a car that gets unnecessary hate because it's actually not a bad car. It just looks hideous, and it was in Breaking Bad, so that's a cool feature.
And it was in Breaking Bad.
As well as the Toyota Tercel. So,
You're next.
my next. do I want to do like a really, really bad one?
Just like controversial would be fun.
Yeah. Okay, the Aston Martin DB5 isn't as good looking as people think it is.
That's wrong. No, it's a very good looking car.
No, I'm not saying it's not a bad. I'm not saying it's a bad looking car. I'm just saying it's not as good looking as people think it is, and it's a bit overrated because of that.
No, it is. It is as good as it looks. It's a brilliant car. And
Okay.
if you can say one design cue that's wrong with it, I'll agree with you.
The rear end.
No.
It's too long.
They did two of them.
It's
didn't
too
they?
long.
They did the coupe, and then they did the one that was
The Volante.
that
which
one.
doesn't look as good.
And then they did a convertible.
Yeah, the Volante.
They did, yes. Which both of them look stunning. You're wrong. Moving.
No, it looked good, right? But it's a bit too long. The rear end's a little bit, with the rear boot lid's a bit, and it's incredibly overrated because it was a terrible car, because it didn't drive very well and wasn't very fast, because Aston Martin lied about the power figures and they put out a lot less power than they actually did. And the DB4 and the DB6 are far superior looking cars.
Sure.
And the DB4 was lighter.
The DB4 was very good looking.
And was faster in Vantage form than the DB5 Vantage because it was smaller and lighter.
Okay, I agree. What about the DB5 shooting brake? The one that that third-party company made. That sorted its rear end issue.
Yes, it did. And also, what did sort its rear end issue was the V8, because it was so fast that you didn't have to look at the rear end.
Well, you couldn't see it when it went past.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
No.
I agree.
So what I'm basically saying is the DB4 is better looking than the DB5. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Would
I
you
agree.
agree?
Yep.
The DB6 is better looking than the DB5.
DB6 looks like.
The one with the square back. It's not got a slate. It's like a saloon back.
Hey? Why does it look like that? No, that thing.
Show me.
That's ugly.
No, that's way nicer than the DB5.
That's ugly. It looks
No,
like
it's not. It
been
looks
in a crash.
fantastic.
What the... I'm so glad I've never seen one of
The
those. in real
DB6
life.
is better looking than the DB5.
No.
It just is.
Nope.
It is.
Nope. Moving on. I have got one that will crush
Go on,
your
then.
soul. The NC. The NC MX-5 is the best MX-5 out of them all. And there are so many reasons. So many reasons.
It's not the best.
No,
but
it's
not
the
as.
best.
It's not as. No, it doesn't have pop-up headlamps. But
NC, NA, NB,
do you know, as an
ND.
actual sports car, for being a sports car recipe, it's the best.
It's just, I just think
Because
it's the best one. It's the best
front.
looking.
It's front mid-engined.
I just think it's the best one. It's
So
the
it's
best
got the-
looking.
Apart from the NA, which has got the 50/50 weight distribution and is the best setup, the NC is front mid-engined. So on paper, should be the best, but it obviously isn't because it's too heavy. But a tuned NC with decent suspension, decent brakes, decent exhaust system, decent level of power is incredible.
I didn't think you'd take it that way.
No,
No, because you agreed. Now I'm going to say. One. The McLaren F1's ugly, overrated garbage.
that's what I was going to say. That's my next
I've
one.
stole it. Now there's something we can agree.
No, right. The McLaren F1 is overrated in the fact that it is not in any way, shape, or form worth £25 million.
It's not even worth.
Or $25 million, or whatever they sell for.
It's not even worth.
It's worth a few mil, because that's what most of the supercars from that era. And everyone's like, oh, but it's the fastest natural aspect car in the world, and it's like Genesis, but a car. Yeah, but if Genesis was a car, it wouldn't be terrible
and it
to
would
drive.
bust tail
It wouldn't look weird with bus tail lights. It wouldn't have terrible reliability.
Stupid
Maintenance bills.
Yeah. It's just.
And it would probably have an in-house engine and not one stolen from a BMW 7 Series from the mid-1980s. So, yeah.
The all-British car has
The all-British car has a V12 that had 290 horsepower in a saloon car, then was bored out, had some internals changed, heavily modified, and stuck in the back of then stuck in the front of a BMW X5 and an 8 Series as a bit of a test, and they bored it again and then shoehorned it in the back of the McLaren F1 basically, it's not worth 25 million quid. Because if you didn't know little facts about McLaren F1 for all McLaren F1 fans, it's not actually capable of 240 miles an hour if you have one with number plates. Because when they did a prototype versions, they increased the red line to increase top speed. And they also removed the door mirrors, in which it was then capable of 243 miles per hour.
So they lied, like
Yes.
Bugatti did with the 300 plus.
No.
The Bugatti 300 plus, the one that was sold to consumers, does not go 300 miles an hour because they added another seat in and many other things.
No, it is capable of 300 miles an hour, but they just decided to limit the top speed to 273 miles an hour, unless you are given special permission, in which you are then allowed to do 300 miles
Which
an hour.
no one's allowed special permission.
Yes, you are.
No, you're not.
At Overlesson, you are.
What?
The racetrack where they did it, if you drive your Bugatti to Overlesson,
Don't worry, I'll take
which is
it
that
next
big
week.
circle, well, oval track, they might let you do 300 miles an hour.
No, they won't let you. Because then if you die, then it's their problem. So the 300 plus consumer one will never go through.
It will never do 300. It is capable of 300 miles an hour.
Capable,
but
maybe.
it is limited to 273. But it's a similar story with McLaren F1 in the road going versions, because of the lower RPM, could only do 226 miles an hour, which does still make it one of the fastest naturally aspirated, I think the fastest naturally aspirated car ever made. But
Not the best though.
well, no, because I'm not being funny. But for 25 million quid, you could have an EB110, which I think is a better looking car.
You could have the CLK GTR,
CLK
which is better
GTR,
looking.
which is a better looking car.
The Strassenberg.
The Strassen version of the 911 GT1, which isn't a good looking car, but is an awesome car.
Isn't good looking, say again.
It's not that good looking, is it?
It's a good looking car.
You could have Maserati MC12
Or the Enzo.
and an Enzo.
And you can have both.
And one of my all-time favourite mid-naughty supercars, well, it's not actually a supercar, the McLaren SLR, because it's the Super GT car, but it's faster than supercar. It's a brilliant car. You could have a Carrera GT,
Yes.
the old Ford GT.
And the new one. You could have
yeah.
You could have so many
You could
cars
have
for the price of one.
A Bugatti Veyron 16.4, the original.
I think you could
All
have.
of these you could have for the same price as McLaren F1. I'm not being funny. You could go faster, in more comfort, have a massive car collection, cars that don't blow up every time you turn the key, cars that actually drive okay, cars that have airbags, cars that have got ABS, like cars that have got traction control and you're not going to die and go reverse entry into a tree like Mr. Bean did. Oh yeah, he did that in McLaren F1 as well, didn't he?
Many times. Many times.
So you could have a lot of cars for McLaren. I'm not saying the McLaren F1 isn't one of the greatest supercars of all time. It certainly is, because it's fast and it's an incredible piece of engineering.
Yeah.
What we're saying is it's not worth the ridiculous hype and the catastrophically high price. But then again, is a Ferrari 250 GTO worth 47 million quid? Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
To be honest, for the looks, yes.
Yeah.
Because at least when you pay that much money, you get a car that doesn't have bus tail lights, and
There may as well be bus tail lights just this big.
yeah, but do you know them bus tail lights you can buy for 20 quid off eBay?
There are a lot of cars like that, like the facelifted Diablo is the same.
The Diablo is the same.
300.
But the Diablo doesn't cost 25 million quid though. So you're not paying 25 million quid for a car with bus tail lights with the Diablo. And you get a better noise and a better looking car. Like, it's one of them, innit?
Yeah.
And the Diablo was the first one, was at some point the fastest car in the world.
For about 25
1990,
minutes.
I believe. Yeah. About 25 minutes. Like every car was in the mid-90s. Every single car was world record holder for about 40 seconds.
Literally, the Celine S7 did hold the world record for about 7 days. Maybe that's why it's called the Celine S7.
What, 248 for the twin turbo version, and then the Veyron was like, "Hiya!
Hi, I'm here now."
And then this 20 minutes later, the Koenigsegg CCXR edition comes out. Hiya! I'm 1 mile an hour faster. And then 20 seconds later, this SSC Ultimate Aero comes out. Hiya! I'm as fast as well.
It was crazy. And now we're stuck with the Bugatti 300 Plus.
Yeah, because SSC lied, and Hennessy can't be bothered, and Koenigsegg cars aren't ready.
It's pretty much, we're waiting on the Swedish. That's what we're waiting for. Whoever thought we'd wait on the Swedish?
Also, the Jesko is incredibly overrated, and the one with the spoiler is not capable of 300 miles an hour.
I
But
think-
it says it isn't. It's only capable of 279.
Back
Never
to the
mind.
Jesko, I think it's ugly. I think
Same,
that's
but I think the Jamura looks fantastic.
the Yamura.
Jamura.
Yamura.
I also think the Regura looks fantastic.
I think the Agera is the best one. Just the standard Agera. The original Agera.
The CCXR edition was the best looking Koenigsegg ever made.
CCXR, yes. Oh, I take it back. CCXR.
Best looking Koenigsegg they've ever made.
Yeah.
So, yes. Have you got any more controversial opinions? Go on. You can get some more. Oh no, I've got one actually.
Oh god. Here we go.
The Ford GT is better with a V6 than it would have been if it had a V8.
It's not controversial, it's just a fact.
No, it is.
It's not-
Well, it is a fact.
It's just a fact.
People go, oh, but the Ford GT doesn't have a V8. Because the old one had a V8
No,
and
but
the
it
one in
can't
1966 had a V8. Well, it can't fit. So if it had a V8, it would have worse aerodynamics, it would be slower, it would be heavier,
Probably uglier.
it would be a lot uglier because I think it's one of the best looking supercars ever.
I
It
love
is
the little
phenomenal.
winglets.
I love
It's so good.
the Ford GT. It is, if I ever became wealthy enough to own a supercar, it is the only supercar I would own because it looks phenomenal.
The only?
Yeah, it actually is.
The only one.
It's the only modern supercar I would actually go out and buy with money.
Okay.
Because I don't really see the point much of supercar. When you can have a Super G, you can have a McLaren SLR does everything that a Lamborghini Murcielago does.
You could just have a Veyron that does everything.
That
the
does
original Veyron.
Yeah, but I would have a McLaren SLR every day of the week, and I'd have a Ford GT as my supercar.
I don't think I'd have an SLR. I think I'd
Why
have an
wouldn't you?
SLS.
I'd have an SLS Black Series, but do you know SLS Black Series are now worth more than SLRs pretty much?
That's because they're so much better in every way. Massive doors.
Yeah, but
such a good car.
the SLR's got them weird butterfly doors,
Yeah, but
and it's got side exhaust, and it's got a high top speed.
it's not really Mercedes, is it? It's not really McLaren either. It's not really either of them. It's just a weird love child between those two companies.
I also think it looks fantastic. I didn't think it looked that good originally when it came out. It's one of those cars that looks better now than it did because it aged really well. But I think it looks so good.
That's why it's sold.
And it is
horrendously.
unbelievably fast. People don't realise how fast the SLR actually is.
For what it looks like it would be kind of like the SLS.
You'd think it's SLS performance. It's not. It's,
It's
on
not.
a different level of fast. The power rating was understated. They are ridiculous. And they top 208, a minimum of 208 miles an hour. They were fast.
I want McLaren and Mercedes to do a collab again.
Yeah, I do. But I don't think it's ever going to happen.
It will
unfortunately.
never happen again.
Right, back to the Ford GT. So, everyone badges on that it isn't a V8, but the old one was a V8 because it was supposed to be a homage to the original,
Which it did very well, by
which
the
it
way.
did very well.
It did
And
very well.
that car is incredible and I love it. I love all of them. The modern GT isn't meant to be necessarily a homage to the original because it looks nothing like the original.
It's just really meant to carry on the GT name.
Carry on the GT name, put the GT name back into motorsport, and also then make one of the most ultimate supercars in the world that's better than the likes of Ferraris and McLarens, right? It's a 216 mile an hour masterpiece. And the V6, I actually think, sounds better than quite a lot of V8s.
You have just made everyone cry. But I agree.
I know.
I've
I've made everybody cry. And everybody's probably just turned off and unsubscribed because I've said that the Ford GT's V6 probably sounds better than the V8 that they'd have put in. But it would, because with modern emissions, V8s don't really sound that good now. And V8s don't really work in the modern world because of emissions. That's why Maserati have got the MC20, has a V6. It's better with the V6 because it produces the same power, but gives off a great noise. I think V6s are probably the best engines you can get.
Very underrated.
Straight sixes or V6s, I think incredibly underrated because they give you 4-cylinder lightness, a 4-cylinder practicality, 4-cylinder fuel economy, pretty much, with V8 power. That's what they do. V8s are incredible, but they are a little bit behind the times.
They haven't really grown up.
V6 is a phenomenal. Like, the Ferrari 296 GTB is the best Ferrari on sale now, which is another controversial opinion because everybody I think the SF90 is, which is ugly.
Oh yeah, the
expensive,
SF90 is hideous.
Not very good to drive. It's four-wheel drive. It's got too much power, and in a drag race on Carwell, the 296 won.
I'm gonna make you cry.
What?
I have a very, very controversial opinion.
Okay.
You're gonna love this.
Go on.
I think the Ferrari Purosangue is the greatest car they make. I think it's the best looking SUV
But it's not.
on sale.
But it's not.
It's amazing. It has suicide doors. It has suicide doors. It's fast. It's got the looks. It's a good car, and
No,
you
it's
can't
not.
say anything else.
I mean, suicide doors are cool on a Mazda RX-8 or a Rolls-Royce Ghost, but they're not cool on an SUV.
The Rolls-Royce Cullinan taking them off. You know,
The
pretty
Cullinan
well.
is hideous.
Yeah, it's ugly, but it worked. It's
To be
sold
fair,
well.
the Purosangue, when it first came out, I thought, God, that's horrendous.
It only came out like 3 or 4 months ago. How's your opinion changed so quickly?
No, it came out a while ago, but
There was leaks of it quite a while ago.
somebody road tested one in red, and I thought, actually, you know, that actually doesn't look that bad. I was like, it's not as hideous as an FF.
Wow, you've hurt me.
The FF's ugly.
I think
the
FF is a very good looking.
FF isn't that good looking at the back, but I thought, do you know, it's not that bad, and it is the only proper bonkers V12 SUV because the Cullinan isn't that fast.
It's not bonkers. It's just meant to sit very proudly on a street.
And you're supposed to be able to put a coin on the top of the engine and it not fall over. On a Purosangue, it'll fall over before it even gets to the V12.
Yeah, and that's not just Ferrari build quality either.
Well, it probably is actually.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Ferrari's terrible
You put the
build
penny on the top and the V12 just falls straight through the car.
It's an odd one, the Purosangue, because it does look like a Mazda CX-30. And you can't say it doesn't. They did the can I copy your homework thing.
Have they done it better?
Well, all they did was get a Mazda MX-30 and stick a V12 in front of it. That's all they really did.
It's better. It wins.
Are you saying that the V12 is better than the Skyactiv XE
That's exactly what I'm
HEV 4-cylinder that's got 182 horsepower?
Mazda really aren't good at naming things anymore. Very, very confusing.
Skyactiv. What's the Ferrari's called? A big, massive 6.5 litre V12.
They just call it the V12. They're very Italian. They're quite
Also,
straightforward.
It isn't the fastest SUV in the world. That's what's very annoying about it.
Is it not? What?
It is 1 mile per hour slower
Is
than the DBX 707.
I knew you were going to say that, and I love that thing. I think the DBX 707 looks amazing. Best Aston Martin.
That is when you think of SUV and somebody just goes, right, let's just make a bonkers one. That's basically a DBX 707. It's just a bonkers SUV. It's as bonkers as you can get for an SUV. The Cayenne Turbo GT is probably the fastest all-rounder. You've opened a window.
That's because I'm going to die fast travel.
The Cayenne Turbo GT is probably the most track-focused, the fastest all-rounder, right? Because it's a Cayenne Turbo GT. But then the Urus is probably the worst because it's just an Audi Q7.
Oh, and it's ugly.
I know, very ugly. And the DBX 707 is the one where they just go, right, just go bonkers, just go crazy, just go completely berserk.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what it is.
We're going to talk about my brand now, Vauxhall.
Oh no.
Yes, we're going to talk about Vauxhall.
Vauxhall, what about
You
Vauxhall?
start to pick a Vauxhall and we'll talk about it. Not the Grandland. Any Vauxhall but the Grandland. I don't even care. It can be the Grandland. It can be
Bad Automotive Opinions, the best Vauxhall ever wasn't built by Vauxhall.
If you say the Lotus, Carlton. It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
It is the best Vauxhall ever made.
No,
It just
isn't it?
is.
No.
What? Okay, there's a Zafira GSI.
No. That's my favourite one. That's not the best one. The best one is the one that was also made by Lotus, the VX220 turbo.
No, no.
Yes.
Because it was slower.
But it looks cool.
Yeah, but it looks
It's
good.
more practical than the Lotus. It looks
Is it?
better than
How
the
is it more
Lotus.
practical than a Lotus Carlton? It hasn't got a boot. It's got any back seats.
Yeah, so then you don't have to take people in it.
We don't have to take people in the Lotus Carlton. It's just
Yeah,
more
you do. It has
practical.
back seats. You have to.
You don't have to.
You'll
take people in
become
the
a
back.
taxi.
You're not about the fastest taxi in the world.
Until you end up in a canal.
No. Right, that will conclude Bad Automotive Opinions because he's wrong about Vauxhall. You're right. You're right.
Vauxhall is the
And
greatest
what we
brand.
will. What?
Vauxhall's the greatest.
No,
brand.
it isn't.
Yes,
The greatest
yes,
car
it is.
manufacturer of all time is Alfa Romeo or Lancia.
Oh no!
It is.
No, it isn't. They make
Alfa and
cars that
Lancia.
fall apart.
That's the point.
What? So you're going shopping and you park your car and you close the door and it falls off.
That's the point. If Alfa Romeo and Lancia made cars that worked,
But they don't, so you can't.
they
say
wouldn't
anything.
make very good cars.
What?
Cars that work properly are boring.
Lancia have never made a good car.
They have.
No, they haven't.
They have.
No, they haven't.
The Stratos.
No.
The O37.
No.
The Delta Integrale.
Yes. I like the Delta Integrale.
Right, that's concluding this one then. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.